Hey, fifth graders and fifth grade parents. I'm Mr. Stewart, one of the fifth grade teachers at Oakton, trying to help you guys with some math homework, because I know there have been some questions over the past few weeks. This is a brand new concept that I'm trying to work on, and I'd like to continue doing it. So I will be working on some homework help on a semi-nightly basis. So tonight, what we have is the 9-10. I'm looking at the reteaching side, fractions on a number line. And if you look at that first question, and I'm just going to be using as my example to reteach, is I want to show those three numbers, which is 8/10, 6/20, and 519 thousandths on the same number line. So this is pretty much what we did in class today, just so parents are hearing it, and also so kids are getting it a little bit further into their memory. So one of the things we did was we started with a blank number line from 0 to 1. And one of the things that we did with that number line is we broke it up into tenths. But before we did that, I talk about benchmark fractions, and that's just the first line I put on because that is the half mark, or if we're talking about tenths, that's going to be 5/10. And we talk about tenths because we're bridging the gap between fractions and with decimals. So tenths being the first place in our place value after the decimal, and tenths in fractions, it'll be very helpful to see as these examples continue. So what I'm going to do is create a number line and break this into tenths. So if you would at home, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So if you would at home, also do the same thing on a piece of scratch paper, or in your math notebook if you took it home. And then I'll show you this in a second. And the reason why we do this out of tenths is to just make sure that we can visualize all of the numbers we're putting on our number line, and so we can show our work. If you remember, the first number that we needed to put on our number line is 0.8, which if we say that using place value is 8/10. Okay, and we can put 8/10 right on this number line because it sounds exactly like a fraction. If we say this correctly using place value, 8/10, it can go right on our number line at the 8/10 fraction mark. And I'm going to write it in the decimal form just to further incorporate the fraction and decimal, how they really are the same thing, just said a different language. The next one we needed to look at was 6/20. I'm going to erase the work for 8/10, and 6/20 is the next one we need to put on. And 6/20 that's not really a one we can put right onto this number line. It's a little more complicated. It takes a little bit more than just one step. So we're going to do a few steps. But knowing from last week, we're able to change. I keep doing this. I'm going to get better. We keep taking this 20th and we can make it into either tenths or hundredths, just by doing a little quick calculations. Saying the same value, we're just simplifying or making it in a different form that's easier to work with. So 6/20, I'm going to recommend we go down to tenths. So I'm going to just set it up so parents can see exactly how we're setting it up. So how do I make tenths into 20ths? And there's a little calculation we do, and that's right, your kids have already said it. It is divide both the top and the bottom by 2. So right here, 20 divided by 2 is 10. And if I take 6 divided by 2, well, I get 3. So now we have a fraction that is 3/10. Can we put 3/10 on our number line? We absolutely can, and we will at this time. And this, where it varies from the page, is they didn't put it back in its original form of 6/20 on the number line, and I am going to do that. So 6/20 matches up with 3/10 quite nicely. Finally, the last number we have to put up is a little bit more complicated, but it's not so complicated. It is 0.519, which if we read it in place value would be 519 thousandths. So 519 thousandths. Well, we first need to look, since we've divided our number line into 10 spots or into tenths, what I'm going to do is I'm going to underline the number of 519 thousandths. I'm going to underline the tenths place. So what digit is in the tenths place? It is a 5, so there are 5 tenths and a little bit extra. So we know that this is between, this number that's going to be going on our number line is going to be between 5 tenths and 6 tenths on our number line. So what does that really mean? Is it going to go closer to one side, closer to the next side, right, smack dab in the middle? What I've done is I've basically taken my whole entire number line and I've zoomed in like an iPad, and I've gotten to between 5 tenths and 6 tenths. Now, I can do something with this number line that is very convenient, okay? And this is why our place value chart works, is I can take this and I can divide this one into 10 equal spaces, much like I did the one from 0 to 1. And all I am doing when I do that is making the next place value. Hold on, let me just count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Sorry about that. All we are doing is creating the next place in our place value chart, which is after tenths becomes hundredths, followed by thousandths, 10 thousandths, 100 thousandths, millionths, and so on and so forth. But that would be a lot of different ticks and a lot of zooming in and a lot. But I digress. We are here at 5 tenths and 6 tenths, and each of those spots is going to be marked as 100th. So we can look 100th, 200th, 300th, and so on and so forth until we get all the way to 900ths. And if we want to just make it easier on ourselves as we're going, yeah, I get the idea. Let's just make this quicker. So all the way up to 900th, and then we would get to 6 tenths. Now we can zoom into those, divide each of those into 10, and then get thousandths and so on and so forth. And now it's sort of a lesson that because you could get in this range from 5 tenths to 6 tenths, you could get all the way up to 0.5999999 on for infinity until that tenth changes to a 6. You would still be in this range. So what does that really mean? Well, we look back at our number, 0.519 or 519 thousandths. So the number here in the hundredths place is a 1. So 5 tenths, 100th, well, we can do that. We're between 5 tenths and 6 tenths, and we have 100th there. And just out of curiosity, if we're wanting to be even more detailed, we have a 9 thousandth. So just visualizing in your head, and with this, what we did to make it hundredths on this chart, where would the 9 fall on if we were to take between 100th and 200th? If we were to zoom, where would it fall? Would it fall closer to 200ths or closer to 100th? The right answer would be closer to 200ths. So we can put that dot right there, which, I'm going to get better, I promise, right there. But once again, this was zoom. So is a number like 519 thousandths going to be closer to 5 tenths or to 6 tenths? The answer is clearly 5 tenths. So I'm going to put a dot and mark it on our number line exactly as stated. So there we have 519, and I'm going to make lines to them so it's easier to see because that one's kind of crazy. Okay. So if you go back to your homework, you'll realize our number line is very close to their number line. Am I right? So as you're going through your homework, they give you number lines, okay, blank number lines from 0 to 1. So if you look at number 1 through 3, it's blank number lines, and guess what? That's 10 ticks. So make sure that you are doing the exact same strategies we did here. Also, for numbers 4, 5, and 6, they give you a number line with 10 ticks, and it says A, B, and C, what is the fraction and the decimal. So we're making sure we're looking for both of those. So that's your homework. You also have the practice side, so do your best. use the strategies we've taught in class and strategies you've learned here on this video. And parents, please encourage your student to watch this video over and over if they need more help on this lesson. With that, I will see you all tomorrow. Adios.